In the beginning of the film, we see a giant python snake in a jungle of China, who is about to hunt a baby boar. But at the right time, some monkeys come there, who try to save the baby boar from him by distracting him. They take the baby with them and start running away from the python. But the python doesn't leave them and keeps following them for a long time. But finally, a panda comes in front of him and tells Python to go away from there. But he does not listen to the panda, and instead tells Panda to get out of his way. Hearing which, the panda catches him and throws him away. Finally, the python has to give up and go away from there. But before leaving, he tells the panda that one day he will take revenge on him. The panda doesn't take him seriously and leaves with his wife, and from here, the scene changes and comes to another forest where we see a bear named Mick. And in the same forest, there was also a hare named Oscar, who considered Mick as his friend. But Mick didn't like him at all. Mike gets a pamphlet sent by Oscar in front of his house, on which it was written that today he will go for a journey to the moon through a rocket launch and will be the first space traveler of the jungle. But Mike wasn't impressed by this at all, because such kind of stupidity was not new for Oscar. But some of the animals in the jungle was about to go for a rocket launch, and they ask Mick to come with them, but Mick refuses them. When Oscar finds out that Mick hasn't come to see him, he gets very disappointed, but still he forgets it, and flies away through his launcher, made by his hacks. But due to the lack of planning, the launcher gets blasted only after reaching a little height, and Oscar falls from above and reaches near Mick. On the other hand, we see a group of storks who all were carrying a bag with them, in which there were babies of different animals, and they had to take those babies to their respective parents. But there was also a careless stork named Carl. He falls down due to a small incident in the sky, and due to this injury, he forgets who to deliver this baby. Then he finds a nearby house, which was actually Mick's house. Seeing that house, Carl does not think much about it and leaves the baby to the Mick's house. On the other hand, Mick suffers a lot of damage in his garden due to Oscar's stupidity. And also a flock of bees start to follow them. Somehow they manage to escape the bees. But because of this, Mick gets very angry at Oscar, and he tells him to go back to his house. But because of that blast, Oscar's house was destroyed. That's why he couldn't go to his house. In the meantime, they both see the same bag in front of them, which was left by Carl. When they see it, they find a baby panda in it. The baby starts crying for no reason when he sees them. Mick gets very irritated by this and tells Oscar to calm him down. Oscar tells him that maybe he is hungry and crying for milk. But as they couldn't manage any milk, so for a while Oscar gives him coconut water and calms him down. Mike didn't like children at all, so he tells Oscar to do something and take the baby to his parents. But Oscar couldn't do it alone. Then through the map, they finds out that as pandas are found in the jungles of China, this means that they had to take a long journey to get this baby to his real parents, but Mike finds a shortcut. So he decides to go there through that way. Oscar also wanted to join him in this journey, but Mike was already very angry at him, so he refuses him, and starts his journey alone through the river. But after sailing for a while, he finds out that Oscar has also come with him by hiding. After knowing this, Mick starts shouting at him and asks him to go back. But as soon as Oscar leaves, the baby starts to cry again. This irritates Mick a lot, but then Oscar calms him down with his actions. Seeing this Oscar's ability, Mick finally agrees to let him join. On the other hand, we see a pelican named Duke who used to talk nonsense all the time. And even there also he was telling scary stories about his bravery to some ducklings, but when their mom comes, she drives him away from there. But while going away from there, he sees a raft, which was actually Mick's raft. Meanwhile, Mike goes to take a rest by giving the responsibility of handling the boat to Oscar. Then Duke arrives there. When he gets to know about the mission of Mick and Oscar, he asks Oscar to let him join their team, as he was free anyway, and due to lack of work he used to roam from one place to another. Mick first refuses him, but baby panda starts crying again. And this time, he doesn't calm down, even after Oscar's actions. But when Duke starts telling him his stories, the baby panda calms down. Seeing this, Mike allows him to walk with him, and the three of them set out on their journey. On the other hand, we see a wolf named Jones, who was very coward, and he was alone in the jungle. He was scared of every little sound, and whenever he got scared, he would freeze for a while, and due to his fear, he was driven out from his pack. Also, he used to hallucinate a lot. Because of fear, he used to see a personality like himself, which was actually just an illusion of his mind, and the personality that was created due to fear tried to scare him even more. On the other hand, at night, Mick and his friends were resting at a place. In the meantime, while running away from his personality, Jones comes to Mick and his friends, and as soon as he sees them, he freezes again out of fear. When Mick asks Jones about it, he tells everything about himself, and later Mick also tells him about his mission. Then Jones also asks him to take him with them, because he was anyway very scared of himself and also alone in that forest. And Mick takes pity on his condition and includes him in his team, and everyone leaves for their mission. But while moving through the river, they do not see the way ahead because of the sudden smoke, and their boat also starts colliding with the rock. Then Mick tells Duke to take that baby panda with him, and Duke do the same. But then their raft breaks due to colliding with a rock, and with the flow of water they reach the bank of the river. because of which they could not decide the way ahead through the river. And as Mike gets very angry in this situation, that baby panda also starts crying. And even after Mike's effort, he does not calm down. Then a tiger comes there, seeing which Mike begins to consider him a threat. But actually that tiger was very friendly, and he did not want to harm anyone. His name was Maxim, and he loved to read poems. After listening to his poem, Baby Panda becomes silent. That's why Mike likes him a lot, and while telling him all his stories, he also offers him to join his team. Maxim agrees to it. And they all leave for South China, through the jungle and desert. On the way, they also find the Great Wall of China, and they had to cross it. Duke takes Baby Panda with him and easily crosses it, and Mick throws the rest of them one by one. And finally, with the help of Duke, Mike also crosses that wall. And in this way, they reach the forest of South China, but before reaching there, they decide to rest for a little because of fatigue. But then they see that Baby Panda is standing on his feet and moving ahead. Seeing this, they think that maybe he has sensed his home. And that's why he is going towards his home. But in the meantime, they sees a large group of elephants coming towards him. Somehow they manage to save themselves along with Baby Panda from them. But it was evening by now, so they find a place to spend the night and sleep there, and Mike goes to sleep after giving the responsibility of Baby Panda to Oscar. But in the same forest, there lived that python whom we saw in the beginning. When he sees Baby Panda near him, he thinks that maybe he is the child of the same panda with whom he had enmity. That's why he thinks this is the right time to take revenge from Panda. So while everyone else was sleeping, Python wakes up Baby Panda without letting anyone know about it and leaves from there with him. When Mick opens his eyes, he sees that Baby Panda was missing from his place. So he wakes up everyone else and asks Oscar about the baby. Oscar was also shocked to know this and starts looking for him all around. But he doesn't find the baby anywhere. That's why Mike blames Oscar and gets very angry at him when everyone else tries to make Mike understand. Then he starts saying bad things to them too, and in anger he leaves everyone and goes away. Oscar also feels very bad about what Mike said to him, so he also starts going the other way. But after a while, both of them realize that they can't get away from here, after coming so close to their mission. That's why they come back to the same place. There Mike apologizes to everyone, and they finally reunite once again. Only then 3 monkeys come there who try to tell them that a very big python has taken a baby panda as its hostage. Oscar understands what they are saying. After hearing this, Jones gets very scared, but Mike asks those monkeys to take them to that python. On the other hand, the python had brought the baby in his cave, where the baby was crying due to fear, and Python was about to make him his feast. But in the meantime, he hears someone outside the cave, so he goes to see it. But outside he sees Oscar and Duca, who were deliberately humiliating that python to distract him. Seeing this, the python tries to attack them, but at the right time, Oscar and Duke move away from their place, and he collides with a rock. After this, everyone starts confronting the python together. But because of fear, Jones gets freezed again while everyone else was busy fighting the python. Meanwhile, Duke gets a chance, and he goes to take the baby in the cave. Jones tries a lot to join his friends in this fight, but he starts hallucinating again. And his fears tries to demotivate him by saying that he is very weak, and he should run away from here. But Jones doesn't listen to him, and understands that this is just his delusion. He denies all his words, and at last, he manages to control his fear. And then he supports his friends in facing Python. And finally, Python has to give up in front of everyone's efforts, and they throw him far away. By then, Duke also takes the baby out of the cave with him. Mick and the rest of them are very happy to see him back. There again, Mike apologizes to Oscar for his behavior, and they both become good friends. On the other hand, the panda couple were waiting for the stork to arrive with their baby. Then they hear someone's voice, which was actually Mike and his friends. They had reached there with Baby Panda. The couple gets very happy to finally see their baby, and they thank everyone for it. After that, Mike and Oscar meet the baby for the last time and leave to return home, and the rest of their friends also go their own way, and with this, the movie comes to an end.